Welcome back to my channel. This is Gina from Her Cosmic Crown, and I am a Cards of Truth practitioner and a tropical Vedic astrologer. Today we're going to discuss the good and the bad of each card. We're just going to discuss the numbers and the face cards. We're not going to go over each suit or anything like that. And if you want to know the full description of your birth card, I have videos under my playlist called Cards of Truth, and you can check out my different Cards of Truth videos on there, as well as your individual playing cards. But for today, I am just going over each card without, the suits and things like that. Now, keep in mind, all of the cards that I'm using in my hands, they have the diamond suit. I mean, I'm not describing the diamond suit, but I just happen to choose the diamonds as an example because I want to hold something. If your birth card is an ace, so that it doesn't matter if it's an ace of diamonds, ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of clubs. If your birth card is an ace, this message is for you. The challenging thing with having an ace birth card is that aces represent the potential of something. It's not something that has fully grown. It's not something that is reached its maturation point. In fact, an ace of spades represents like a tree that is growing, but it's still underneath the soil. So we don't know the potential of it. We don't even know what kind of tree it is. So that's what aces are. It's just full of potential. But at the same time, that's the great thing about aces. Aces are full of potential. We don't know where this new thing is going, where this new beginning is heading, and that can be exciting. As an ace person, overall, you are learning more about yourself through these new experiences that are coming into your life, these new experiences that you are, these new experiences that you have. It's all about self-understanding or self-growth or building your self-esteem somehow, self-knowledge. Ace birth cards are all about learning about oneself and the endless potential that brings. If your birth card is a 2 of something, the challenging thing with this is that 2s represent attraction, connecting to something, bonding to something, and whatever your energy is or frequency is, you're going to attract more of that. So that could be a negative thing, especially if it's not necessarily something that you want attracting in your life. So this is kind of based on whatever you have going on inside of you and what's kind of going on in your environment. You're going to attract more of that thing. So that would be the negative. And then also, like the aces, 2s are all about the potential of something. So we don't know the potential of a 2. We don't know the potential of a connection or what we are attracting into our lives. We don't know the potential of that. And that's kind of the thing that people with 2s are navigating. And what should I connect with? What is the potential of this connection? The pro in terms of having a 2 birth card is that you have this ability to attract things into your life. That could be attracting information that is useful, attracting love that is useful, attracting knowledge that is useful, right? So 2s are about bringing in something into your life that you need. And hopefully that thing that you are bringing in or attracting into your life is something that is beneficial and useful for your progress in life. If you have a 3 birth card, the negative to that would be number 3s are all about the potential. So we don't know what is going to be the result of a number 3. And 3s are all about fighting for something. It's all about the hard work. It's putting in the hard work and putting in that hard work and not knowing if it's going to be successful or not. That can be very challenging for a 3 card. 3s also represent emergencies, right? things that we have to get off our butt and fix it, right? Threes are about solving problems. So that can be a bit stressful at times. But the good thing about threes are that they bring a lot of growth to us, right? Because we're having to deal with crises in our lives, because we're having to do the hard work, we are growing as a person. You know, we're expanding. We're not this stagnant energy. And so there are a lot of things that are being put into motion. It can be an exciting card, right? Because there's, you know, things are happening. It's not like things are just smooth sailing. And threes are about expansion and, you know, getting out of our comfort zone, leaving that thing that we want to connect to, but we're leaving that thing in order to seek out something else out there. So those are the pros and cons to the number 3. If you have a number 4 card, I'd like to start with the cons. So the cons with having the number 4 is that things can be if you think about a 4, it represents a box. And some numerologists associate 4s with coffins, with death, right? With the deathbed even, because 4s also represent the bed. So it could be like the deathbed or a coffin, being boxed in. And at best, it can be like being bored and just feeling like, hey, I don't know where else to go. I feel like boxed in, everything is going so well, I don't know where else to go. 4s are connected to the number 7, which has to do with death. So the 4 birth cards are looking for stability, a foundation in their life. And having stability is so nice. Having somewhere to come home to, somewhere to lay your head, something that is consistent in your life, that is important for a number 4 person. And so you are working on mastering, achieving a sense of peace, a sense of, you know, hey, this is my home. This is something that's stable for me. This is something that's consistent. It could be a stable relationship. It could be even stability with your learning or your knowledge or some kind of philosophy. Finding a guru for some can be a sense of like, this is the knowledge I was looking for. This knowledge makes me feel at peace, secure with my life and things like that. So some kind of security, not just on a material level, but it can be on a spiritual level. And if you have a 4 birth card, as long as your birth card chart is pretty good, you are on your way to having more stability in your life. If you have a number 5 birth card, number 5s can be difficult at times because 5s, kind of like the number 3, represent putting in the hard work into something, and not only putting in the hard work, but sometimes the work you're doing can have a result that isn't necessarily what you expected. It's like things aren't necessarily aligning. And so when things aren't aligning, or, you know, things get averted in your life, this card, because it's actually a Jupiter card, it's wanting you to look at the bigger picture and to understand why is this thing not coming into my life, right? Say it's a relationship. Man, I really want a relationship in my life, but it's not coming to me. It's getting averted. I thought that relationship was going to work out. Well, that's because we're learning to understand that everything is happening the way it's supposed to, and to be okay with that and to accept it and to kind of be like, hey, I surrender in a way. So 5s are really about things not working out in our lives. 4s are where things are working out. 5s are like, man, this is kind of chaotic, right? Things aren't falling into place like I wanted them to. The good thing about 5s represent change. So maybe something was stable in our life and now it's not in our lives anymore. And so we are learning how to accept change And change can be great because, you know, I talked about this with the number 4, like when things are just, you know, so predictable and so mundane, and yes, things are peaceful, sometimes that can get a little boring, right? You want to spice things up. So 5s are learning to accept like changes, moving, spiciness, things coming, you know, at us, and then that's helping us grow, you know. So 5s are promoting growth within ourselves, and as we are changing, things are changing in our environment. So this card is, you know, this card number is all about experiencing changes, accepting changes, being okay with changes, and as those changes are happening, recognizing that we ourselves are changing to match the energy around us. So yeah, the pro to this is that you're probably not going to get too bored having a 5 as your birth card. If you have the number 6 birth card, the con to having a number 6 birth card is that the red 6s correspond to the Devil Tarot card. And so the Devil Tarot card, part of that represents kind of being tempted to sometimes think the grass is greener on the other side, or maybe comparing our lives to other people's lives, because 6s are looking for fulfillment, and it corresponds to 6s correspond to the planet Venus, and Venus is all about the fulfillment we get from the world. It's not about inner fulfillment, but it's about what we can get from the world, which is important because we need food, right? We have human bodies, so we have needs in this world, eating, drinking, shelter, but the temptation comes from wanting in excess, right? Overindulging perhaps. And so people with 6s might look too much outside of themselves, might look too much to get their needs met from the world, instead of looking at what they do have already, and seeing like, hey, I'm actually quite fulfilled, right? Even if someone else is doing better than them, there's still so much that that a person with the 6 can say, hey, I have enough. And 6s are about accepting what they have, right? It's about accepting that, hey, life only gets to be so good for anybody, right? So let me just count my blessings. Now, the good thing about 6s is that they do receive quite a bit of fulfillment. Now, it's going to be fulfillment in different areas depending on the person, but it could be fulfillment when it comes to love, right? They're getting love from people, you know, family members and things like that. There can be a certain amount of fulfillment they get from their material life, right? A certain amount of fulfillment with their knowledge, right? So yeah, so this card, on one hand, it's the pro is that yes, there's something to be happy about. There's something that you're getting from the world, and then at the same time, there is this temptation of thinking that you don't have enough. Also, 6s tend to know what they want, or what they want to connect to get fulfilled. So that's one good thing, is that they might know, hey, this is what I want and I'm gonna go after it. And yeah, I think that that's a good thing with the 6s. The next card we have are 7s. The cons that are associated with the number 7 birth cards are that it has to do with our limitations as human beings on earth. We are limited to quite a bit. The number 7 is very much a karmic number. So a person with the number 7 birth card could be burning karma in some kind of way. And also there can be a lot of endings. There can be death, endings of cycles. This can be, you know, a challenging card. However, the good things about having a challenging card like this, it's really strengthening a person, because they are shedding these unhealthy parts of their ego, like this self-importance. And it's like, you know, a person might have a certain expectation from, you know, for life and things like that, and they just crash, you know, or it seems like things fall apart in their lives. And this is building a healthy ego for them. And this is making them want to connect to something deeper than the external world, connect to the divine, right? Connect inwardly. So this is a powerful card, and it's a card that allows a person to hopefully accept what is happening, and to hopefully understand that all that is happening is for a higher purpose. When we face something that is difficult, we are shedding unhealthy parts of our ego, and we are, as my teacher says, lightening our karmic load. There's not as much karma we are having to carry when we have to go through these burdens. When we're carrying heavy burdens, just think, okay, I'm lightening my karmic load. Whatever, you know, whatever you think about that, whether it's like past lives or ancestral karma or whatever the case may be, we are, you know, shedding that. With the number 7, we are getting rid of what is no longer us, what is no longer useful for us. And that can be endings in relationships, right? Endings with certain teachings or philosophy that wasn't working for us. And it can seem like such a difficult thing to let go of when we lose these things. Whatever we're losing, it's because it's not who we are. It's not part of us. It's not part of our journey anymore. So 7s are learning to accept that, and they're learning to, as they get older, to have a lighter load on them, you know, a lighter, not to hold on to so many burdens, and maybe living more of a simple life and not being weighed down so much. The number 8. So if you have an 8 birth card, the con to that, I would say, is that it's not easy, because life is it's like this for everyone, but especially the number 8. Life is like a mirror that's being reflected on you. Like everywhere you go, it's like a reflection, a mirror. And that's because 8s are the mirrors. And if you're experiencing difficulties in life, or you know, challenges, or people who are cheating you and all of these things, we got to think about, how are we cheating ourselves? How are we treating ourselves too? You know, if people are treating you poorly, well, maybe I'm not treating myself well, you know? So 8s are learning to master looking in the mirror and saying, hey, maybe everything that's happening in my life is helping me grow. So that's one good thing about 8s, is that it's connected to the number 1, or aces, because 8 squared, or 8 times 8, that equals 64. And when we add 6 plus 4, we get 1. So 8s have this energy of the number 1. It connects back to the self. We're here to learn more about ourselves through our environment, okay? So yes, this card can be rough. Yes, this card can be an ego bruiser, because it's like, damn, like everything that I'm going through, it's, you know, a lot of that is something that I put myself through. And how can I undo that? How can I do this inner shift? So 8 is a very powerful number, and it's all about self-empowerment. So you have the power to change. And it's like that one quote, be the change you'd like to see in the world, right? That's the 8, right? So be that change instead of hoping and praying for that change. You be the change, and that's how you're gonna help change the world. Number 9. Okay, so the con with number 9 is that you're gonna go through some stuff if you have a number 9 card, because it's all about ego, letting go of unhealthy parts of the ego, your ego is going to get bashed, and that's good, because this is a spiritual number. It's the highest spiritual number, because it's the last single digit number. Okay, so very spiritual number, but it's the end of a cycle. It's the end of a journey, and at the end of the journey, it's like, you know, it's hard. And the number 9 is a culmination of all the other numbers, right? So right before the number 9, we had the 8, where we're having to look at ourselves and see how we are a part of the difficulties in life, in our own lives. Number 7 is like dealing with endings, like things ending in our lives. And the 9s have to do with those things too. And so when we get to the number 9, it's very difficult, because we have to let go. We have to accept things that are no longer supposed to be in our lives, that are no longer in this journey for us, supposed to be on this journey. And it's about letting go, which can be super hard, and unhealthy ego death. This thing of like self-importance, right? Like, oh, I'm so good at this, or I'm good at that. You know, it's a very humbling number. And the number, the pros to the number 9, there are so many, right? It's a spiritual number, like I mentioned, but it's also a number of completion, of completing our karma. And you know, like if someone's at the end of their spiritual journey, they've completed all their karma, right? And so that's a good thing. The number 9 is also associated with bliss, feeling that level of bliss, because they've not only shed unhealthy parts of their ego, but they also realize that everything is God, right? Even the so-called bad things that happen in our lives, that is to help us grow, to connect to the divine. And the number 9 is enlightenment. So a person realizes this thing. This isn't to say all number 9 people are enlightened, but this is what they're working on. Okay, this is what they are working on to get to the next level of their journey. And but like I said, in order to reach these higher levels of this card, we have to deal with extremely difficult things, losses, tragedies, and confront ourselves and realize, like, hey, you know, life is a mirror. Life has been showing me too that, you know, I'm not perfect, and there's things that I need to work on to be a better person. So number 9s, there you go. I would say the challenging thing about having a number 10 birth card is that it represents going on another cycle, another level. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that when we go on to another level, because 10 is 1 plus 0, so 1 plus 0 is 1. So when we're going to a next level, we have to start at 1 again. So that number 1 is full of potential. We don't know how it's going to play out, if it's going to play out well, but we'll see. But the good thing about number 10s is that 10 includes the path of all the birth card numbers, so from 8s through 9s. And so 10s have a lot of experience. The good thing about 10s is they tend to be talented at something, or they tend to do something effortlessly, and they're just really good at what they do, and they can be successful, and they can go on new levels and reach new heights. So yeah, 10s can take a while to be able to finish up a cycle, to complete a cycle, and to be able to ascend to the next level, and to be able to be successful. But it does happen, but a person just needs to be patient and endure going through the different cycles of life. That means, you know, starting from the very beginning, you know, with little knowledge, with not knowing how much potential, to being in the middle of the journey, which would be like the fives, fours and fives, and just feeling like, okay, yes, and on one hand I feel stable and comfortable, on the other hand things are kind of chaotic, to being at the end of the journey where someone's like, oh, okay, I see, you know, everything that I went through was for a certain reason. And just having this kind of bird's eye view of the things that happened. So that's number 10. Jack birth cards. I would say the con to having a birth card that's a Jack is that it's it has to do with the potential of something. So it has all of this energy because it has aces, twos, and threes. It rolls over all of those numbers. So we're not looking at just one number with the face cards. It's a lot. It has a lot of power. Face cards have lots of power behind them because they energize 3 numbers, 3 cards. So Jacks have so much energy behind them, so much potential, but we don't know what that potential is. We don't know if they're going to be productive with all that energy that they have and all this, these ideas and things. But I would say that the Jacks can be exciting. They can be very creative people. So people with Jacks as their birth cards, they're learning to be creative and learning to kind of trust their insights and their knowing, their, you know, what they have, their abilities. They have new things come into their lives and they're really good at initiating something. So it could be like, oh, I have this new idea, or I have this new love, you know, or this new guru, or this new philosophy that I'm learning. So there's so much potential, a lot of excitement, and that's kind of cool though, like not knowing if it's going to be good or bad or how it's going to unfold. You know, Jacks are full of full of exciting energy and possibilities. Even a Jack of Spades, which has to do with difficulties and, you know, dealing with new burdens in a person's life and things like that. I think Jack of Spade people they're very creative in terms of learning how to get out of those tough situations. Also, Jacks have to do with the self. So a person is learning more about themselves as they go along. They're learning about being more and more creative, more self-knowledge, more self-awareness, learning more about their self-worth, self-love, and things like that. Queens. So if you have a Queen birth card, I would say the con to that would be that maybe you are working very hard when it comes to something, because Queens energize the numbers 4, 5, and 6s, especially the number 5s. So they can put a lot of work, a lot of energy into something so that it can, you know, so that it could be fruitful, so that they can enjoy the fruits of their labor, so they can nourish what they have created, right? And we could think of Queens as the mother. You know, the mother takes care of everything. She's able to juggle so much in the life. She can take care of the home life. A lot of times she's working, and she can just multitask even. Queens are very powerful. But yeah, I do think the con would be that maybe Queens work too hard. Maybe they're overworking. Maybe they're doing too much. So, but the good things about the Queens is that they're making the most out of life. Whatever resources they have within them, they are doing it. They are putting that to good use, or they're learning to do that, because we're here to master our birth card. We haven't mastered it yet. So Queens are learning to realize their full potential. Also, Queens can be very intuitive because they have a lot of experience with various things. They intuitively know what is going to work, what's not going to work. So they can be very intuitive as well. The con to having a king birth card is that they can be so skilled at something, so they can master something, right? Because kings are the master. They're the specialists of all the birth cards. Someone who works really hard at their craft. So queens, they can kind of juggle a bunch of different things, but kings are the ones that you go to for a specific answer to, right? You go to an astrologer for specific questions you might have. You go to a dentist, you know, for concerns about your teeth. So specialists, those are kings. So because we have kings as the specialists, sometimes they can get, they can have a big ego in a way, because they are really good at something, or they are learning to master to be really good at something. And so at times though, the ego can get in the way. And if someone's not skilled in a certain area, they could just be a king, right? They could just be really good. They could just be thought of very highly in their community or society. And then that can give them this huge ego or this God complex. So that would be the con with having a king. Now for the pros. The good things about the king is that they are the specialists. They can be, they can have a lot of things that they're responsible for, and they're here to take care of business. They're here to just go after that thing that they're good at, even if it's being like a leader in some kind of way, like the leader of the households, right? Kings energize the 7s, 8s, and 9s, but especially the number 9. 9s are generous, and kings also have that generous spirit, and that's because kings have they've mastered something so well, either mastered some kind of teaching or philosophy, or they've mastered their relationship, their, you know, loving relationships, where they're kind of stoic in a way with their relationships. They know their limits. They don't take no mess type of thing, but they do it in a loving way. You know, you've seen those strict teachers or parents who are just like, they give you that eye and you already know, and you just kind of sit up straight. Like, those are the kings, but it's coming from a place of love. It's not like in an abusive way. You know, they've mastered something in their life, and so they're able to be generous. They're able to give that thing away freely. It can be love, it can be their teachings, it can be their skills, their finances, it can be just their self. You know, somehow they're sacrificing themselves, because kings represent sacrifice. They can self-sacrifice, because if you get rid of this idea of self-importance, or I'm great, or, you know, whatever the case may be, if you get rid of those ideas, then it's easier for you to give freely, because there is no sense of like, I need this for myself. It's this person has reached this, hopefully this person reaches the idea of, you know, everything is of a divine source, and everything is operating the way it should. So kings can be very powerful. And again, the negative side of kings, if a person doesn't master their king in a healthy way, they can be a tyrant in their life. It can make, you know, people's lives miserable, because they can be too bossy and telling them what to do, and they can think they know everything and they know what is best for everyone.